Welcome back, everyone. Last time we explored how RhythmSpeak lets us kind of physically embody sound itself.
Yeah, that was fascinating, looking at motion giving voice to sound.
Exactly. And today, we're diving into something that feels, well, even more profound, maybe. How RhythmSpeak acts as this powerful release valve for our emotions.
A pathway to catharsis, essentially.
Catharsis, that deep sense of like release and relief from strong emotions, sometimes ones we've held on to for a while.
Right, and we all know about catharsis through talking or music or art or even just, intense physical exercise.
So those are the usual outlets.
But RhythmSpeak feels different. It's not just one of those things. It seems to integrate them in a unique way. It's like the movement itself becomes the language for processing emotions.
So it's not just flailing around when you're upset.
Definitely not. It's a structured system. It uses what are called motion-optimized verbal expressions, M.O.V.E.s for short.
M.O.V.E.s.
And these M.O.V.E.s are designed to perform, share, and even understand emotions and concepts through movement.
So the core idea today is that RhythmSpeak turns movement into a language that helps us express, release, and actually resolve emotions kind of in real time.
Precisely. It taps into that understanding that our bodies carry so much of our emotional story.
Okay, let's unpack that first big idea. Movement as an emotional release valve. When we think about it, we kind of do this naturally, right?
We do.
Clenching your fist when angry, maybe pacing when you're anxious.
Absolutely. Physical gestures often externalize internal feelings. RhythmSpeak just takes that innate connection and makes it more intentional, more conscious.
So using a specific RhythmSpeak move helps channel that feeling outward safely.
Exactly. It provides a safe channel. Think about anger again. A sharp, controlled movement can let that energy out without, the potential baggage or harm that words might carry.
That's a really interesting point about the words, how they can linger.
Right. Words can echo, cause regret. But these RhythmSpeak motions, they're described as ephemeral.
Ephemeral, meaning?
They exist in the moment. They rise, they express the feeling, and then they dissipate. They resolve. There isn't that same sticky residue left behind like after a verbal fight.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like the emotion gets its moment, its physical form, and then it's released.
And apparently, people who practice RhythmSpeak really feel that shift. It's not just theoretical. They report experiencing a physical, visceral change as they move through these sequences.
You can almost picture it, can't you? Like a sequence starting with tight, maybe constricted movements.
Reflecting tension or frustration.
And then flowing into something more expansive, open, releasing.
Exactly. And that physical opening mirrors an internal emotional release. It brings tangible relief.
It's like that feeling after a really good stretch or, finally crying after holding it in. There's a lightness.
Yes. That's the kind of connection RhythmSpeak seems to formalize and harness, which brings us neatly to this idea of resonance.
Resonance. Okay, what does that mean in this context?
Well, it's about how repeating emotion, rhythmically and with intention, can actually amplify the meaning and the emotion behind it.
So doing a simple move once is one thing, but repeating it builds.
It builds, it resonates. Think about how we naturally respond physically to strong feelings. Like you said, pacing when thinking hard, maybe shaking when scared, or that pounding heartbeat when you're intensely emotional.
Right, those are rhythmic, repetitive actions sometimes.
Exactly. RhythmSpeak provides a deliberate framework to tap into that. It allows you to intentionally build that emotional energy through resonant motion, let it peak, and then guide it towards resolution.
So it's not just random repetition, it's structured to help manage the emotional arc.
Precisely. And the effect isn't just about expressing more fully. It's also about preventing that feeling of being bottled up.
Okay. By giving it that physical outlet.
You're processing it, moving it through you, quite literally. It stops the emotion from getting stuck inside, which often leads to that feeling of internal lightness and clarity afterward, like you've physically shaken something off.
I like that, shaking something off. But emotions are so personal, aren't they? Does RhythmSpeak account for the fact that my anger might look or feel different from yours?
Oh, absolutely. That's crucial. It's not about forcing everyone into the exact same emotional expression. Nuance and personalization are key.
How does that work? Through the M.O.V.E.s?
Yes. Even within a defined M.O.V.E., subtle shifts make a big difference. Changing the angle slightly, the amount of force you use, the timing, even your breathing.
So tiny adjustments can completely alter the feel of the movement.
They tailor it to your specific emotional experience. Imagine a general move for, say, pushing something away.
Okay.
One person might perform it as a sharp, decisive rejection. Another might do it with more hesitation, almost like a reluctant boundary setting.
Yeah.
The core move is similar, but the performance makes it personal.
It's like embedding your own emotional signature onto the movement.
Beautifully put. And that personalization is vital for catharsis. It makes the mover feel truly seen and understood, primarily by themselves.
It's like you're finally finding a physical vocabulary for something that might be hard to put into words.
Exactly. It becomes this intimate dialogue between your body and your feelings. You're fine-tuning the movement to accurately reflect what's inside. That act of precise expression is inherently releasing.
That makes sense. And what happens when you bring this into a group? Does that change the dynamic?
Immensely. It opens up the possibility for communal catharsis.
Communal catharsis, like everyone releasing together.
Yes, but it's more than just individuals releasing simultaneously in the same room. When people move together in RhythmSpeak, sharing that rhythm and flow, it creates this palpable collective energy.
I can imagine that, like the energy at a concert or a rally, maybe.
Something like that, yes. Individual emotions start to resonate within the group, turning private feelings into a shared, validated experience.
Is it just spontaneous, or is there structure to group work too?
Well, the source material mentions future plans for a specific move point category. It sounds like a way to structure collective motion, almost like choreography for emotional expression, to ensure coherence and really heighten the shared emotional journey.
So it guides the group's energy. That sounds powerful.
It does. And think about the empathy aspect. When you see others moving, expressing their vulnerability or strength physically.
You connect with them on a different level, right? Without words.
Exactly. You witness their expression, they witness yours. It fosters this unspoken support and understanding. It bypasses a lot of the usual communication barriers.
So it's not just about feeling individually better, but also feeling more connected to the group.
Precisely. It becomes a communal emotional cleansing. Participants can feel relieved personally, but also socially bonded through that shared embodied experience. It really highlights the therapeutic potential beyond just the individual.
Shifting from personal to shared release. That's quite a range.
It is. And there's one more fascinating aspect mentioned. How RhythmSpeak handles conflict, like arguments.
Arguments. How do you argue with movement?
Well, you express the emotions of the argument, the disagreement, the frustration, the defense through the M.O.V.E.s. And the interesting thing is, catharsis seems built into that process too.
How so? Isn't expressing anger physically potentially problematic?
The idea here is that the physical act of arguing allows the intense emotions to peak and then naturally subside within the movement itself. It doesn't fester like unspoken resentment or escalate uncontrollably like some verbal fights.
So engaging the body fully actually helps diffuse the tension.
That seems to be the concept. By fully expressing the disagreement through your whole body, you kind of work through it physically. You let the emotional wave crest and break through the movement.
Instead of it crashing down verbally and leaving wreckage.
Exactly. So participants might end an exchange like that feeling physically tired, sure, because it's intense.
I bet.
But also with a sense of emotional clarity. They've fully expressed themselves, moved through the conflict, rather than being stuck with lingering anger or bitterness. There's a completion.
Wow. Okay, so catharsis really isn't just a side effect of RhythmSpeak.
Not at all. It seems fundamental. It's woven into the very design from the personal nuances of a single move.
To the amplified resonance in groups.
And even the way it allows for resolving conflict. It's a comprehensive system for emotional expression and relief.
It really does sound like a living dialogue, doesn't it? Between the body and mind, motion and meaning.
A way to truly honor our internal emotional landscapes while providing these real physical pathways to release and ultimately renewal.
Whether you practice it alone or with others, it transforms physical activity into something almost ritualistic. A ritual of emotional freedom.
That's a great way to think about it. And it leaves you wondering, doesn't it, about the potential locked up in embodied expression for all of us.
Yeah. How do we currently process our emotions? And what could opening up to movement like this actually unlock for our well-being?
Definitely something powerful to consider. How much more emotional freedom could we find if we